Most of the things that I'll be talking about will be very familiar because most of the presentations that we went through yesterday are touching on similar situations, very common occurrences in our countries, particularly in Africa. And like many other African countries, Botswana would have experienced or have gone through similar experiences. Some of you or most of you would be aware that Botswana has progressed over the years, experiencing a rapid economic transformation largely due to the mining sector, which since the 1980s has contributed over 35% to GDP, accounted to 82% of export earnings, and made up 53% of government revenue. But as a nation, Botswana came to realize that over a decade ago, continued reliance in natural resources, in particular diamonds, was in the long term neither desirable nor sustainable. It was clearly evident that a fundamental change in Botswana's development strategy would be necessary to move beyond the narrow commodity-based economy to one that was more secure and sustainable, and which could pull an increase in production of the potential workforce, proportion of the potential workforce, not just into the labor force, but more importantly into employment in high-value jobs. This has led to a new thinking emerging in Botswana regarding the requirements necessary to build a globally competitive nation and position Botswana within the global knowledge economy. This new understanding of Botswana's path to future success was first demonstrated by the release of Vision 2016, which has the nation's future up to the point of the 50th anniversary of the country's independence, which will be in a couple of years from now in 2016. The essential thrust of Vision 2016 is to use the platform of Botswana's natural resources endowment, firstly to consolidate its traditional strengths of a peaceful political system, sound governance and institutional regime, macroeconomic stability and financial discipline, and then to create conditions for high-quality growth. Botswana is well known for its planning. We are known as a country that plans very well, and we have the National Development Plan 9, which we just completed in 2009, and now we are into the 10th National Development Plan. And both of them translated the broad objectives of Vision 2016 into operational policy goals, moving towards, among others, the development of an integrated national knowledge and innovation capacity, hence a greater need to develop human resource capacity. As a country, we value the education of Botswana, which are the nationals of our country, and the country has made commitment to prioritize education and training as key to economic diversification. It is for this reason that education is seen as a driver to government's national human resource development strategy and the implementation of the 10th National Development Plan. The education sector, as it is the case with many African countries, or at least developing countries, receives the largest share of the total government expenditure. This has seen the government maintaining education expenditure on average at 28% of the total national budget expenditure in the last 3 years, up to 2010. In numbers, this 28% translates to something like 8.7 billion pula. You divide that by about 6 to convert to US dollars, so that will be something like $1.8 billion. And only a third of that will go towards the salaries of teachers. Investment in education will continue to be a priority in the current planning period, which is from, that's the National Development Plan 10, 2009 to 2016, in order to achieve the aspirations of the country. This generous allocation of the national budget towards education and training goes to show that the government recognizes and accepts the challenge presented by the changing environment to invest more heavily in the development of human capital in all sectors, that is private and public, and at all levels and to the very highest national standards or international standards. We do have other players in the education. We have development partners who make a significant contribution towards education and training in Botswana in the form of other governments and regional bodies. We do have a significant private sector participation in augmenting government efforts towards education and training provision. We have other local players in the form of non-governmental organizations and self-sponsorship and so forth, but all of these do make a meaningful contribution towards education and training in Botswana. There are opportunities for further investment by the private sector in education and training in the country. And we see Botswana providing a unique investment opportunity based on its background and distinctive historical, cultural, geographical, political, and economic characteristics. Botswana has a unique investor value proposition to fully leverage and transform itself into an education investment destination of choice and a center of excellence in education by attracting leading tertiary institutions, scholars, researchers, and students into the country. We do have a strategy that was developed in 2006 called the Botswana Excellence Strategy. And this is the strategy through which government charted a path for taking the economy of the country to the next level. And we operate through what we call hub concepts, and this is why I am here as the head of the education hub. There are other hubs that are related to different sectors of the economy, such as the health. There is a health hub, there is diamond hub, agricultural hub. All key sectors of the economy do have hubs to make sure that we focus on key areas that can move the economy of the country. And in line with this excellence strategy, Botswana is committed to establishing itself as a center of excellence for provision of quality education, training, and research in identified broad niche areas. It was necessary to identify some areas in this regard so that we can be in a position to guide the investors who may be interested in participating in Botswana's economy. And these broad niche areas include business, mining and energy, medical, science and research, agriculture and livestock management, hospitality and tourism, conservation and environment, peace and justice and democracy, governance and economic management. But in addition to this, we do see Botswana as a home to a number of very good education and training facilities in the form of technical colleges and health institutes, which unfortunately, because of the small population that we have, Botswana geographically is a very big country. Normally we say it's as big as France, as big as Texas, for those who may not know Southern Africa. But it has one of the lowest populations because we have only 1.7 million people in that big geographical land. We do have the facilities in education and training that have been developed, and we cannot optimally utilize them. And this is why we see Botswana having an opportunity to provide education and training as service to other countries that may not be in a position to have opportunities in their own countries.